Thanks for having me, and thanks for using the platform.
We are here to talk about leadership and coaching. So I'm curious, have you ever been coached in your career?
Yeah, I have. I haven't been I think of coaching in different facets. So I think I am still being coached, but I'm not formally coached, for example, at the moment by a professional coach. But going back to that individual contributor to manager moment, this to me was one of the hardest transition I had to do, if not the hardest transition I had to do in my career. And it was a long time ago. I was lucky to be trusted with a team fairly early in my career. And back then, and since now, I've realized that actually that transition is very difficult because the proxy by which we pick people to become managers is not necessarily the best one. We usually take someone that's really good at their job, and to reward them, we give them a team, and we give them a team in general of people that are doing a very similar task and job than the one that you've been excelling at. And that's what happened to me. I ended up, managing a team of product people to build websites, and it was a fairly big team. And my first reaction was one that most, I think, young managers have, which is, well, it's going to be really easy. I just need all these people to do what I do the way I do it, and it's going to be awesome. And turns out it didn't quite work that way. And so this is the first time I had the need for a coach. And I remember, I work with this coach. His name is Sylvain, and we had so many conversations. And the big realization I had was there is multiple ways to successfully do one thing. And my role as a manager and my role as a leader wasn't to just build mini-me's all around me, but actually to understand in the people I had in my team and the people I was going to bring into my team, how to help them find their way to get to success. And this is when coaching and coaching as a management tool became a real thing for me. So today I think about coaching like I'm a manager coach. I believe I use coaching techniques in the way I day-to-day manage my teams. I am using coaching very specifically around career conversation. I think career conversation are a very unique type of conversation I have with my team members, where I purposely use coaching techniques really to get people to really figure out what they want from themselves. And I have a few thoughts and a few stories there. And I mentor people. And so I also have, in general, at any point in time, between 4 to 6 mentees that are either inside the organization, usually people that don't report directly to me, and they can be from LinkedIn in Asia or somewhere else around the world, or from outside LinkedIn. And it's a really rewarding time spent for me with, helping people that are at a moment in their career where they need an external point of view, and they need to be sort of pointed in some direction and ask the right question in order to get to some of the answers.
Okay, thank you, Olivier. And thank you for sharing your challenges when you moved from individual contributor to manager. I'm sure there's many people that can relate to that. I can definitely relate to this when I was promoted to manager, and I have many clients as well who are facing these challenges. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you as well for sharing the way you coach and you mentor people in your organization. So I'd like to know what motivates you to mentor and coach people, and what does it bring you personally?
Well, first of all, I think it's an incredible management tool. So what motivates me is the outcome, is the success, and it's really playing to win and helping my teams winning. I think that's the first thing. If you think about the career coaching, I love those career conversations. It's something that it's a journey I embarked myself when I took on this role. And there's been a few key moments for me, at LinkedIn, my first boss was a guy called Mike Ganson, who left LinkedIn now, but has been my manager for 7 out of the 9 years I've been here. one of our first conversation, I remember, was a shock. And he basically told me very early in our relationship as you know, as with him as my manager, he told me, hey, like, let's get things out of the way. One day you're going to leave the company and it's okay. And I was like, wow, like this guy's crazy. Like he's talking to me about leaving. I've just arrived. But I also at the same time realized that it was an incredibly liberating thought. It was like, you know, let's get out of the way the fact that you will live one day, and let's focus on two things. Let's focus on the fact that you deliver the maximum impact on the organization while you're here, and the fact that the organization delivers maximum impact on you during that same period. Like, let's optimize on those two things. And I realized that having that notion of like, one day I will leave out of the way was extremely liberating. And later on, I kind of brought that same energy into my career conversation. And I've used that as a way to bring a career conversation, oftentimes a career conversation when it's with your boss or it's in the context of an organization. It can feel a little bit limiting. Like, it's really like, what is my next move at the company? Like, what is the next job I can get promoted into? And I don't think those conversations are the right conversation. I think we get to this at some point, but I think the right conversation is, what is it that you want to do? Like, where do you want to be in like 3 years, 5 years, 7 years? What are the big, hairy objectives you have in your life? And pushing people and thinking that way and saying, I'm going to help you get there. And that might imply a few steps within the organization we are in, within LinkedIn. And that's awesome. That's a great objective for us to find moves for you and find directions you can go within the company that are going to get you closer to such goal. But let's not limit it to it, because if you do, you basically put an artificial construct around one's career, and you start on something that is a little bit of a lie. And so I've used that in my career conversation, and that coaching technique, and that sort of liberating moment of like, all right, scope is much wider than what we could imagine. And I found it really fun. First of all, you get to know your people a lot better. You get to understand what really motivates them. And I think it has allowed us collectively to get to better outcomes, and it allowed me to know them a lot better. So this is, an example of that. In terms of what I get, particularly in the mentorship side, I would say it's fun to solve a problem that is not yours. Like my job is to fix things. Like, I spend my day, like, I wouldn't deserve my salary if there wasn't troubles all over the organization that require decision, planning, fixing. And for all of us as leaders, that's what we do. Like, we're here to like stitch things together, bring them together, solve them, get them to the next stage, and get them to the next stage. So I do a lot of problem solving in my day job. But when I do it with a mentee, all of a sudden I'm a third party. I'm not emotionally involved in it, and I find that fun. I find that fun to be able to be that third party and that partner to my mentees, to be able to ask them a bunch of questions, point them in a bunch of directions, and see them all of a sudden, a little bit like the IC to manager conversation we're having, see them finding their solution to the problem, and really be in that spot. And I think that's the fun of it. And it's great to be involved in the problem solving, because I like to solve problems, but with less emotional attachment and less weight to it sometimes than when I do it for the business I run.